Hello. Welcome along to episode 146 of Adventures in Pop. Today I'm going to be talking about Spotify. I've had a few issues with Spotify in the last few days, and I'm going to share with you because, well, I prefer not to be talking about Spotify, but I think if I just avoid the subject, I'm not really sticking true to my goal here of kind of sharing the ups and downs of being an independent music person, trying to, get stuff out on Spotify and get people to be interested in listening. I could pretend that none of this is happening and you'd be none the wiser, but that's not really right. So if we're talking ups and downs, this is one of the downs. We'll come on to that in just a moment. But first, let's start with an up, shall we? A couple of weeks ago, I rather blithely sort of mentioned that it'd be nice to have a few more subscribers on my YouTube channel. At that point, I think I had about 1,975 or something. And I said, oh, it'd be nice to have another 25 because then I'd get to the magic number of 2,000. I wasn't really sure what was magic about 2,000, but let's just go with that. I've now got 2,700 and something. So about 500 more subscribers have happened in the last week, and it's quite bewildering and really very pleasant indeed. So if you are one of those new subscribers, what can I say? You're really, really welcome. If you want to pop round, I'll make you a cup of tea, give you a biscuit. I mean, it's just very nice. So thank you very much indeed. And, well, on we go. At this rate, I reckon 500 a week, I reckon, I could have 1 million subscribers by the time I'm 104. It's great. Thank you. So what's been going on with Spotify? Well, I'll tell you. Back in November, I got a message through DistroKid, because Spotify don't actually talk to you themselves. They'll only talk to you through your distributor. So mine is DistroKid. Message from DistroKid saying, you have received, your first strike from Spotify, 3 strikes and you're out. And the reason for the strikes is that they have noticed that some of your songs have received some bot streams, basically. So somewhere along the line, a promotional company that I am paying to give a bit of a kickstart to some of my new tracks. I do this quite systematically every time, and I'll explain a bit more about that as we go along. What's obviously happened is that one or more of these promotion companies are using nefarious ways, like basically a bot computer somewhere that pretends it's listening to your song, so it clicks over, adds on those song counts, those streams, but it isn't a real person. Now, look, I find this really distressing, actually, because of course I don't really want to be very popular with a computer. I want actual real people with ears to listen and then to like or not like. I mean, I don't really mind that, but it's got to be real people. What on earth's the point? So I have no intention of, paying anybody, any company, to give me pretend streams. I don't really think that helps anybody, and I'm not really in the game of pretending, fooling myself that means that I'm amazingly popular and all my songs are marvelous. It's just dumb, isn't it? But the problem is that these promotional companies promise that they don't do this. So I'm always looking, and I've used loads and loads of different promotional companies. And obviously, I can't spend a fortune each time. So I'm looking for good value. But at the same time, I check every single one of these to make sure it's not a scam, to make sure that it's got good reviews from people, to make sure, if it's had a Trustpilot rating, that is a good rating. Quite often I find these companies by looking through like the lists of quite reputable magazines where they'll do a top 10 promotional companies type article, and then I look at all the ones in the top 10. I mean, I've really done quite a lot of homework to try and find reputable companies that are not going to be playing fast and loose with your hard-earned cash. In a way, I don't blame Spotify for clamping down on this because it's not fair, and um, these are not real streams. I'm not angry about that in terms of the way that Spotify is trying to manage this, but they are so heavy-handed. So there's this one strike, and they start to tell you about how you should never do this, and it's very alarming and rather dramatic how this happens. So you click onto DistroKid, with your morning coffee, the screen goes black on my laptop, and this ominous message from Spotify is conveyed to me. Okay, November, I get this message to say don't do this. So immediately I changed my behaviour, my habits, because I thought this is pretty serious. What you don't want is to have all your songs removed from Spotify, or to I think the ultimate sanction they can give you is you just get banned forever. No music on Spotify for the rest of your life. I mean, that's quite heavy duty, isn't it? So, obviously, not particularly thrilled about this. So from November onwards, I was only using Facebook ads, YouTube ads for YouTube, and going through actual creators of playlists to see if they would, put any song on a legitimate Spotify playlist. And even then, what tends to happen is you might contact a playlist. This happened quite a few times. You contact a playlist, and DistroKid is very good at helping you find curators of playlists. You find a curator of a playlist, you send them a new song with a little note saying, "Hi, how are you? I'm wondering whether you might like this song." What you tend to get back is, "Yeah, we like your song. Here are the costs." And one of the things that DistroKid and Spotify say is, don't pay a playlist curator any money at all. It's not, it's not supposed to be a financial transaction. Don't do it. So then you ignore then the playlist curators. So how else are you supposed to get your song promoted? Basically, Facebook ads seems to be the only gig in town. I think you can use Google ads. Maybe you can use YouTube ads. And I think Spotify themselves have ads, although by all reports, they're not that effective. So Facebook ads is probably still like the number one answer. It's really tricky, isn't it? So everywhere you look, there are barriers. You're not supposed to pay a playlist curator, and you're not supposed to use now any of these promotional companies whatsoever. So look, my problem with Spotify is you can't speak to Spotify. Now look, I went through all of this the other day with you on one of these episodes about Facebook, about the fact that Facebook have become this, huge faceless institution where you can't talk to somebody, you can't phone up a number and say, "Hi, I'm Simon, I'm having a few issues." Spotify is exactly the same. It's a huge faceless institution that runs the music industry now, and you just have no say so. You have no comeback. They might just say, "Right, you're banned for the rest of your life. Go away, never come back." And you might say, "Well, hang on a moment," but you are whistling in the wind, I think is the expression, because they are not interested in having that conversation with you. Why do I use promotion services in the first place, or why have I used? And it's because it's the only way to kind of get your song to be heard amongst the enormous noise of tens of thousands of songs getting uploaded to Spotify every single day of the week. And the other thing is, of course, record companies are using promotion all of the time. They're spending vast sums promoting their artists. So the little people probably need to spend little sums, because we don't have access to the same kind of finances, to promote their little songs, and to just hope that something catches the Spotify algorithm and does the equivalent of going viral. Okay, let's go back to the story. November, I get the first strike. a month later, in December, I got a second strike. And it struck me with that strike that this was really a problem because I hadn't actually used any promotional services from November to December, but what was happening was that they were spotting still illegal streams that were historic. So they weren't new. And I don't know where they're coming from. So I can't go back and say to the promotional service that I might have used way back, could you stop doing that now, please? Because A, they don't communicate with you, and B, I don't really know which ones are getting these illegal streams. So I was worried, and I thought I could get thrown off Spotify because of historic things that I've now stopped doing because I was, frightened into stopping doing that by November's message. What would happen if I did get banned and it's just because since before November I was using some of these services. So today I open DistroKid, screen goes blank, and let me tell you, not just the screen went blank, my whole life flashed before me. Didn't take very long. And I just thought, I could feel like the blood drain away from my face. And I was thinking, okay, this is serious. So I went through what it said. And interestingly, this time, there was another little note added in on DistroKid. And it said, you have had a number of your songs removed from the streaming service. And I was trying to work out which songs they were. And I couldn't find anything removed until later on today. And there were 2 songs removed. He says, you will have songs removed from your streaming service, but if you want to, you can put them back again. So rather tentatively, I have just spent an hour checking out which songs have gone. There are 2. They are from the recent releases of Strange Alien. They are Tongue Tied, which came out in September, and I Breathe With You came out in October. Those are the 2 culprits, apparently. I kind of don't know why those rather than any of the others, but those are the culprits. Removed, just gone. So if you look for them, you either won't find them at all, or if they're on a playlist, they've been blanked out. You can see that you can't play them. It's a horrible look. But then it says you can just upload them again. And not only that, if you keep everything about the way you upload identical to the first time, with the same ISRC number, which is a number allocated to every release on its release, and I have those because DistroKid tell you what they're allocating, then Spotify will put them back. If that's true, and I've just tried it, I don't know how long it's going to take for them to kind of appear again on the system. If that's true, then what on earth's the point of that? They're going to take them down, then you put them back again. I don't get that game. I mean, look, I don't want them taken down, but what's that about? Now, maybe I will lose all the streams that appeared on those, the streams, legitimate and illegitimate. So they just get rid of all of them, even the good ones. And maybe, as is suggested, it'll all just go back to normal. They'll all come back with those streams still added because I've uploaded with its ISRC number and kept everything exactly the same. This is just balmy. It's scary and it's bonkers. I don't think it helps anything. And look, I'm not using any promotional services, and I guess what I need to say to you is you shouldn't either. I don't know where that leads us. It is just then Facebook ads and YouTube, and so we're kind of forced into using these mega institutions that treat people very badly indeed. I'm not happy with Facebook, Spotify. I'm not happy with either. It's just too easy for them, and I don't. It's insane, really, that that's the way they treat their little customers. I don't think they care at all. So what am I saying? It's been a bit of a nightmare. And if I look at the 6 tracks I've so far released on Strange Alien, I simply can't imagine that album without Tongue Tied and I Breathe With You. I mean, I like all the tracks, but they are such important tracks to me on that album. So hopefully what you will see is in the next few days, if they're not there now, which they probably aren't, they should be back again. And I'm going to make sure that they're reintroduced, they're re-socialized into my sets of songs because I need them on that album. Crazy, isn't it? Look, I'm going to leave it there. Rant over. I love you all the same. And all I can say is I will be back next week with some new music. And actually, in a couple of weeks, I've actually got a new single again. So, we're keeping this going. And I did mention that I'm going to be releasing singles faster than ever in 2024. Yeah, be careful what you wish for. And it's all going to be thrilling and exciting. But today was not thrilling and exciting. It was a moment of sheer terror, as I thought this could be the end of me being able to do any music on Spotify. And how am I going to explain it to you? Nasty. So look, if anyone from Spotify is watching, get a grip. I mean, this is not a way to treat anybody. And yes, it's quite right that you should try and clamp down on illegal bot streams, but at least be accountable so that we can have a conversation. I can try and explain what's going on, from my end, and we can come to an arrangement. But instead, they just say we're going to take them down, and you can then put them back again. Crazy. Thank you for listening. If you haven't heard my most recent single, it's called Fall in Love With Me. It's ever so good. Take it easy. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.